month. And I was like, I can't fuck this up. Like, I need to make it to work. So I had the keys from Tutorius and Partico still because I used to work breakfast. I walked there from the police station in Jamestown, fucking slept on the pass all night, like turned the burners on, slept on the pass, and then the next morning at 7, took the bus over to Newport, rented a hotel room, stopped at Walmart, got some socks, some black pants, and fucking, and was basically ready to go. And I walked to work, and I was like, Chef, I got arrested. And I remember that you just laughed. You were like, that happens. You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm not supposed to be in trouble for this. You know what I mean? And so it was fucking awesome. And I was like, all right, I guess it isn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
But
you always showed up.
For sure. I mean, that was my thing. It was like, no matter what, you show up. You don't have an arm, you show up.
Yeah.
If you say you're going to be there, you have to
be there.
You only got your balls in your word.
Yeah.
Scarface.
You've always, true. And you've always been that guy.
Fuck yeah.
Why I've always respected you. You showed up the next day with a bald head.
And then, do you remember the whole Charlie situation?
Oh,
because for a long time I was like, hey, you got this guy Charlie Apple, he's great, and you're like, what the fuck is Charlie Apple? I don't know about that.
He's got a fruit for last
night. Man, I don't know about that. So then we're like hard pressed for a meat cook.
Bad.
Like, we need one.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me call my boy Charlie. He's on his way out of fucking Newport to go
to New York.
Yeah, basically to go get some other job.
I remember that.
And I was like, stay here and be the meat cook. And he fucking came, staged, and he became the meat cook. And then later on, he had a garden with you and Jeff. Definitely.
I remember sitting down with him and him being like, well, I just said no to a job with Jean-Georges, and because I didn't really didn't align with my ethos and this, that, the other. Charles, I love Charlie. He just thinks about shit like we don't.
Yeah, exactly.
And shout out to you, Charlie. You're my boy. So when he came on, I had all these grand goals of getting to the tasting menu, getting back to the degustation style menu, getting back to the service I wanted to be a part of. And we were close, you know what I mean? I think we were doing maybe a 3-course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And maybe we did
a 3 and a 5.
Or 3 and a 5. We had a 5-course. And I knew I wanted more. I knew I wanted to get to the 10 and the 12, or the 9 and the 12. And that was always in the back of my head. And then that's when we met Jeff. I think Jeff had already kind of started coming around.
Yeah.
Jeff tried to fucking sell me a bunch of garlic one day. I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, I remember.
Trying to sell me
garlic. He come in his tank top with his
tank top on.
Hey, what's going on? How are you? I got some
on his scooter. Fucking shout out to Jeff. I love you, man.
Shout out to Jeff.
Oh, man. And, so, that garlic relationship turned into an open door of well, I'll grow whatever the fuck you guys want.
Yeah.
And that's when we started to sit down together. And I remember Charlie being like, yo, have you ever had this? Some of the stuff I had never really heard of, and it was cool to hear someone that was that interested in it. And I remember being like, well, Charlie, I was like, why don't we we've got a driveway outside, we got a walk in.
Yeah.
We got sun. Let's spend a little bit of money, and we didn't have any money. I was like, let's spend what we can and fucking buy what we can, and then Jeff inspired us, I think, to do it ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Do what we could ourselves.
He definitely did. Because he was a one-man gang.
He was a one-man show.
He did his whole farm. He fucking brought it. He delivered it.
It was always right at service.
Staff meal.
But it always showed up.
Yeah.
He knew when to show up.
Yeah, for sure.
For staff meal. He knew it was fucking Jeff. I love
him. Oh, fucking Jeff.
But yeah, man, he was showing up with Red Vein Sorrel before it was a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
He was showing up with Amaranth. He was showing up with all these nasturtiums, all these varietals, and this was early on, I think.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
This is from Sid Wainer. You ordered nasturtiums; they give you 12 each for $34.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
And you're like,
yeah, and I remember either seeing a documentary or whatever on David Gench's relationship with Apple something farm. I can't think of the name of it. And I was just like, that would be amazing if we could have that relationship. And Jeff was our guy.
Yeah, he was.
Big Black Dog Farm was our go-to. And and I know he had to deal with a bunch of not so nice people like trying to sell them his product in town, and I felt like we were always the restaurant that like we'll buy it if you bring it, we'll buy it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You know what I mean?
Even if it's shitty, we just did it at a like.
And, and we bought it, and we always made use of it. But yeah, man, that time it was, at that time we were opening. We were pushing the taco game really hard. We were doing a bunch of festivals. We were thinking about opening our own taco shop. We were trying to get away from the mobile game a little bit.
Yeah.
And you and Charlie were running the kitchen. Annabelle was crushing it. Annabelle was, you know what I mean? Like, she was a godsend.
Yeah, she
to
really
us.
was.
And sweetest person I've ever met. I think I put her through the ringer.
Oh, yeah. I was definitely an asshole to her, too.
Yeah.
For sure.
But, as... I think everyone had the perception that the goal is to serve excellence.
Yeah.
In some way.
Oh, for sure.
Shape or form. And I was fortunate enough that all of you guys that came through had the same drive that I had, saw what I was doing and were able to take the reins and hold it down as I was trying to keep the restaurant
and move on to other things as well.
Yeah, and Kel and I were trying to keep the bills paid, trying to make sure payroll was taken care of, and trying to make sure that we had another revenue stream when December came.
Yeah.
Because once December came,
you'd be doing 2 covers a night.
Yeah, there was a couple nights when you ask yourself, do we suck?
Yeah.
Is it because we suck, or is it because there's 12 inches of snow tonight?
Yeah, and there's 10 people in town and nobody wants to come eat.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So like, there was a lot of mental game with dealing with that. You know what I mean. When you're in a seasonal place, it pulls you down. A little bit,
for sure.
But you guys all when you and Charlie moved to the island and shacked up, down the street.
Yeah.
You guys, I felt like you guys lived at the restaurant.
We did. I think me and him talked, and we were like, look, if we're going to take this shit seriously and you're going to start this farm and like, let's just go all in, get an apartment together and fucking go. And we found an apartment like 5 streets down from where the restaurant was, 5-minute walk to work.
Yep.
And, it was great. Fucking
yeah. I mean, I definitely remember being very uneasy with the thought of walking away from not butchering everything, not cooking every meat, not making every pasta, not making the sauce, all the sauces. Like I was very reluctant to pass that off because I knew that was that was the money spot.
That was the bread and butter.
What I mean? And Charlie was able to kind of, I remember having a conversation with you being like, listen, like, you've been here this long. I think you're almost there.
But you're not quite there.
But you're not fully there yet. And you say he is, so let's give him a shot.
Yeah. This was one of those times in my life where I was like, put your fucking ego behind you.
Yep.
I know you've been here longer, but Charlie's a better cook than you.
Yep.
Let him cook the fucking meat. Learn from him. Watch him.
Yep.
And then you'll get your chance.
Yeah.
And
he was methodical about it.
Oh,
he was
really
able to understand my system.
Yeah.
He understood when we were dropping fucking meat into the circulator and when to pull it, when to sear it, when to hold it, which pans to pull down, when to pull them, when to start veg, when to not.
When to plate.
When to plate.
Yeah, because we would plate everything. You were basically went on garde manger after that.
Yeah.
It was you and Annabelle on there, and me and him on the hotline.
Yeah.
And I remember we would set the timers. It'd be like, all right, when are we going up on this? 4 minutes. Set a 4-minute timer counting down, and then basically if the plates weren't pulled when that bell went off, we were fucked.
Yeah.
And so we learned to work together really well during that time. We lived together. We probably hated each other for at least a couple days out of the month.
Absolutely.
But we definitely grew, and I think that he was also humbled when he got to veg. Because up until that point, he's a great meat cook, great pasta maker, great cook overall, but he never made a vegetable puree.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking of that when he had a struggle making a vegetable puree, and I was like, okay, like it's not all about no matter what your skill is, you still don't know something.
Yep.
There's always something to learn.
Yep.
And I remember that day, and I was like, wow, like I look up to this guy. This guy, like, was my first sous chef. He gave me my first kitchen job. And he can make a veg puree that I've been, making however long. And it was just like, okay, like, we're good. We're right where we need to be.
No, you guys humbled me, man. I learned a lot with you guys. You guys, taught me a lot about me, who I am, what I can handle, and what kind of leader I needed to be in order to make sure that you guys had what you need. When I needed to go do a farmer's market, leave 8 in the morning and not come back until 3, run up, take a shower,
come downstairs,
check in with everybody, do a couple quick things, and then boom,
line up,
go right into service. Like that was God bless my wife. I mean, her and I did that for a number of years, just her and myself. And Dimas. You know what I mean? And Hector. Like it was a struggle, man. And Kel and I at that time, like we weren't paying ourselves. We weren't able to. You know what I mean? We were, it was
scraping.
It was tough times
for sure.
And we were considered the best restaurant.
Exactly. It was a very crazy juxtaposition. It's like, those guys are great, and that's the fine dining restaurant in Newport, because there wasn't any other one. That was it.
No, and we weren't even fully fine dining.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But we were the ones that were doing it the best. And that inspired other restaurants to open. TSK opened after that. And these guys came from where did those guys come from? I believe it was Vegas. Vegas and LA?
No, they both came from New York.
Okay, gotcha.
One of them lived in, Tyler lived in grew up in Newport, and they both went to New York, or both were in New York, and worked with, I can't remember who, but definitely some big name guys, and then came back here and were inspired by what we were doing.
I was like, this is possible here.
And they opened down the street from us, and we supported each other a lot, and
Christmas parties together.
Oh my God, those were amazing.
Baseball games in the rain. All kinds of shit, dude. We had a lot
of fun. Taking over Rhode Island.
Yeah, that's right.
Those were good times. Man. Those were all solid times.
So then, Charlie leaves. He goes, takes a job in what was it? Maryland as a chef. I'm sort of in transition too, because I think we had talked a lot about once you're the best at the place, you need to go. And I think you always had a thing where it's like, I don't want to keep you here for longer than you need to be. And it was a hard thing, because it's easy to become comfortable. Be like, I'm just going to work here forever, whatever, And then I remember my buddy Tyler went to work at the French Laundry, and I was like, hey, what do you think about that? And I'm like, I think that's baller. It's like, if you got an opportunity, bro, take it. And I said, all right, let me do it. And then that's when I went over there to the restaurant on Riverwood and did what I did. But after that, what happened with you?
When you were going there, I was under the mindset that you were going to be going to the laundry. And then I think you staged there.
No, never did. Basically, I hung out with them.
Okay.
I hung out with the people, and I got this vibe like...
Well, you called me, and you're like, this is not my vibe.
Yeah, no.
And you're like, well, what do you think about the restaurant in Meadow? I was like...
The only other 3-star?
Like, what do you think? I remember you saying to me, like, well, what do you think I should do? I was like, well, you should fucking do what you do. You should just show up at the back door and start working. And don't let the chef fucking turn you away. Just like you did here. And I remember you fucking called me, and you're like, fuck it, I'm going to go tomorrow. I was like, do it. Make sure you have a fucking sharp knife.
Yeah, that's what he told me. So I was like, all right, sharp knife, press chef coat, black socks, black shoes, everything ready to go. Got the job, but that's, my story. What happened after we all left? You have Andrew Cohen at this point. You got Justice, Deputy, who's happily married in Vegas. Congratulations.
He's at Robuchon still, I think.
Is he?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And then, who else was there? Dimas, obviously. Bree, right?
Bree was there.
So it was the first time that you kind of got... did Annabelle train Bree? Or did Bree come after? I feel like Bree came way after.
Bree trained... I'm sorry. Annabelle trained Cassie.
Got you.
Yeah.
And then Cassie, that's the focaccia bread girl, right?
Yeah.
I remember that shit was bomb.
Cassie was really a huge turning point for us in pastry.
Yeah.
Annabelle gave us soul.
Yeah, for sure.
And she brought a level of execution that was just so comforting.
Yeah.
And I was trying to teach her